Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome to another episode of Behind the Clipboard. I'm so excited today to have Kristen Bender Daaboul with me, who is the owner of Kadeema Rentals and its showroom, the Tannery Loft. Hey, Kristen, how you doing?
Oh, I'm good.
We're here trudging through this coronavirus.
Exactly, as well as to be expected.
Exactly. So I'm really excited to talk to you today about your business and what you guys are doing, especially during these times, and also, just how clients and other vendors can turn to you for inspiration and really help narrow down the vision of their weddings and events. So I'd love to start with just the who. Tell me about who you are and kind of how you got your business started.
Sure, yeah. Okay, so a little bit of my background is I'm originally from Nebraska. Uh, Farmer father, accountant mother. Don't
Wow.
know how, but they had three kids who were right-brained children. So for my undergraduate, I was in architecture, and then for my master's, I ended up coming out to the East Coast to go to RISD for interior architecture. And after that, I spent a couple years on the vineyard at an architecture and interior design firm. And then I've been in Boston for the last probably 5 years, also doing high-end residential for architecture and interior design.
Wow.
And so when I got engaged, I was looking for lounge pieces. My husband is Lebanese and my family background is like German Polish. So there's a lot of like whiskey drinking, but also a lot of dancing. And, so we had to do a good cultural mix for the reception. So yeah, we had a big dance floor, but I was looking for kind of smaller areas where people could be involved in the reception, not be like stuck in a corner at a formal dining table, but be kind of in the action, but not have to necessarily dance. So yeah, I looked around the area and the closest furniture I could find was in New York. And I'm like, well, I'm not paying $1,500 to ship furniture, although I love it. So I decided to start buying the pieces myself. And just with the collection of vendors that I had for my wedding, I think a lot of them were kind of the avant-garde, like out of the box. We had a bunch of fun people, and more than one of them said to me, you kind of have a knack for this, and there's kind of a niche, like there's a hole in the market where there's nothing vintage or super modern or kind of this boho feel for lounge furniture. And so, yeah, it just started as a quickly escalating hobby while I was still working full time for design. And eventually, after I think like 2 or 3 years, I started working part time at my firm. And then after I had my son Charlie, I went just full time Kadeema and the Tannery Loft. So it's been an exciting couple of years. There's been a lot of change, which is good. But I think we're kind of like at the scale that we want to be at right now for size or like a curated collection of pieces, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
But
I mean, a full through story of passion into a career, right? You love the
yes,
design and kind of stumbled into it through your own wedding, and you definitely have led
crazy.
the charge. You have a really great inventory. It's just like you said, it's something that's filling a void in our industry, especially.
Yeah.
And tell me a little bit about the Tannery Loft, because as a wedding planner and designer myself, walking into a blank canvas is always so inspirational. And I know that so many other people in our industry feel that when they come see your showroom. So, kind of tell me the thought process and purpose behind that.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're kind of different, I would say, from the other kind of industrial warehouse style venues because I know we work with a lot of them, like Olio, Warehouse 11. Um, but usually we're bringing our furniture into that space versus the Tannery Loft is used as the Kadeema showroom. So all of our furniture is already there. So it's kind of like a more of like a subtraction event space instead of an addition. So instead of it being completely blank and you add stuff in, we have everything there and you can like kind of move stuff out depending on, the layout or feel that you're going for. And yeah, I mean, it can fit up to 150 people, but obviously it's like however intimate you want it to be, you can make it whatever you want, which is nice. Um, yeah, I don't know. We have, well, you've been there. We have too many pieces to count. So that's probably our flaws. We have too much furniture.
Well, it's like
Um,
the best of both worlds is that, it's a blank canvas in the fact that like you can customize it completely, by subtracting
yeah,
or bringing in whatever you want. But of course, there's so much to look at and so many options and really beautiful, great options.
yeah,
Which,
they're fun.
yeah, which actually kind of brings us into our hot topic today that we're going to talk about is decor, and specifically,
Mhm.
with weddings and social events, in spaces that may not specifically have a distinct style, or a bride and groom that don't know exactly what they want for looks. It can be very overwhelming. You start going down a Pinterest rabbit hole,
Yeah.
you're getting all kinds of opinions from people. Maybe you and your fiance differ on color schemes and feels, and, you know, we deal with a lot with people who come in and just kind of don't know how to narrow their ideas down. So I'd love to
Mhm.
kind of hear, I'm sure you deal with this all the time. People see all these beautiful pieces you have.
Yeah.
How do they narrow it down?
Well, okay, so a plug for planners, I would say. Planners are really great because they can help direct and guide your decision making, but also kind of the aesthetic, or they can maybe understand you better as a person and propose, aesthetics that you think will work for you, for the couple.
Mhm.
Like I know my husband and I have extremely different tastes. So there's lots of different ways that you can go about it. But let's say you are a couple that doesn't have a planner, or maybe that does. I think you have to look at the venue that you're gravitating towards and see kind of what style is that venue. Because I think sometimes it's nice to mix and match, but other times, like, you wouldn't want like ultra modern, white and black, maybe in a Victorian venue or something. Or maybe there's one piece but not the whole thing. So I think you have to be sensitive to the venue as your first thing, your first thing to think about. I also think, like, when you're looking at multiple images, I think once you have maybe 5 or 10 saved, I think you should look at them and like analyze them. Are they like all pieces that are French country style? Is it a mix of new and old, which can absolutely be done and it can look great? Is there like certain color palettes that you may be saving that you're not really thinking about as you're saving them? So I think 5 to 10 images, look back at them and really look at like what are the things that I like about this image. And I think they teach you in design is you can't just say, oh, I like this thing. Okay, well, you like this thing because what reasons? Like, give me descriptors of why you like this. And I think some people just, they've never had to do that in their whole lives. They're like, well, I like it or I don't like it. And there's nothing else, but does it evoke a feeling? Is there one specific piece that you love? In which case, like for ours, either it's in our collection or it's something in an image that you're really loving. And then we try to find something that has a similar feeling or similar vibe or color or finish or whatever. So, yeah, I think like curbing how many images you're saving
Mhm.
and then analyzing what you like in the images. And I think like even writing down descriptors of what those images are showing you. Is it romantic? Is it, art deco? Is it mid-century? Like a few factors that you kind of have to define. And sometimes like it doesn't come to us until all those things have been determined. And other times it's like right at the beginning when people are just like so excited and they're like, we don't know our venue. We don't really know our style, but we know we want to lounge. So there's, you
Yeah.
know, there's there's guidance on like multiple levels, but that's usually what I say. Like if you can send an inspiration image or two, that means they have to refine it to one or two or three. Then I think that kind of, is a start.
Yeah, absolutely. And even I know we were recently in your showroom with a couple, who were supposed to get married this year and have unfortunately had to postpone, but we were
Yeah.
going through that same process with them where, you know, they had all these great ideas. We kept narrowing it down and we actually started to use your pieces to be like, this or this, which resonate with you. And it kind of really helped us find a
That's
direction.
nice.
And it's funny because at the end,
Yeah.
we looked at what we picked out, and then I walked into their home for the first time, and I was like, "This is everything we just picked out at Kadeema. Like, was their home?" And they were like, "Oh my
That's
gosh, I
so
guess we do know our style." So sometimes, it's like, just take a look at where you live.
lovely.
So I want to wrap up with something that you may have learned the hard way. So whether that is something as a small business owner or specifically in events, you know, we all are facing challenges every day and we try to be experts for everyone. And sometimes we just go through something and we learn the hard way. And so I'd love to
Yeah.
share those stories.
Yeah, I mean, maybe mine is a two-part learning curve. I would say the first one is like you have to learn not to say yes to everything. You know, you want to do everything for everyone all the time, but you know, I think we're learning that we're good at this one portion of rentals. And so, you know, yeah, it's great to add on, you know, pillows or lanterns, but getting into like wiring for chandeliers or, you know, just like certain things that you just really, you know, you want to make the client happy, but at the end of the day, being mature enough in your business and for yourself to say, that's not my expertise. I can give you this person's number and they can help you with this. I think that's like a huge thing that I'm definitely learning or I've learned.
Yeah.
And you know, I think on the flip for just like a vendor thing, learning this year was learning that insurance doesn't cover a lot of things. For instance, rain, it doesn't cover rain. So, you know, if your client says, nope, I don't care about the rain plan, your furniture is staying outside. Well, it's not on them and it's not going to be on insurance because they're not going to cover it.
Yeah.
So I think it's for whoever of our team members on site has to know, nope, we either have to do the rain plan or we have to like put the furniture away. And I think that's like like that's heartbreaking in that moment to have to make that decision. But, you know, ideally the client wouldn't necessarily put you in that position. So I think, yeah, that was like a big moment for me last year was just, okay, insurance doesn't cover rain and neither should we. So we gotta, you know,
Make sure
just
we get
make
that locked up.
responsible decisions.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
I think
exactly.
I think we're all kind of exploring a piece of that with, you know, all of
Ugh,
the postponements and cancellations and clients too. I think, you know, when you're putting together an event or a wedding, you know, just you're not necessarily thinking about postponements or force majeure and what that means.
exactly.
You know, we
Yep,
all have force majeure, but what does that really mean when it
I
comes down
know.
to
It
it?
could be on both sides. So it's kind of like, how do you handle that? I think you have to go into it with like good, positive feelings. Otherwise, it can, you know, you just don't want to sour that with like with other vendors or you know, the clients or whatever. And it's just not worth it, I think. So I think just trying to just go with the flow and as much as your business can handle, you know.
It's tough business decisions because you know you got to have good business ethics. You know, we're all very client motivated and want to deliver on all their expectations, but we want to be in business next year too. So it's
Yeah.
that tricky line to balance.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Kristen, for taking
Yeah.
some time. I know you're super busy right now, getting everything ready for, I'm sure, lots of elopements and, you know, in the middle of getting ready for what the rest of the year has.
Yeah.
Make sure you follow Kristen on Instagram at Kadeema Rentals and the Tannery Loft. And I've got her websites up here too, so you can check out her inventory and all the beautiful rentals she has to offer. And you can follow us at Kelly Elizabeth Events on Instagram and H. Stratton on Instagram. Thanks again, Kristen.
Yes, anytime. Thank you for having me.
Take care.